So let's finish up the gallery that we were building. And I actually want to do this as a small challenge for you. So you already know how it's going to look like in the end. And so I'm sure that you're going to be able to place all the remaining 13 images here on the grid just like this, okay? So I'm sure you can do it. And so pause the video now, and I'm going to be back in a minute and show you how I did solve this. So, did you manage to do it? Let me now show you my solution, so my way of doing this. And first of all, I'm going to include all of the images in the markup. Okay. Now, instead of copying this here and then changing this number 1 here in the item, in the name, and the alt text, I'm going to use Emmet to actually do all of this in one line of code. Okay, so this is going to be the most complex Emmet code that we ever wrote. So let me show you how I did it. So we want a figure with the name gallery item. So nothing new up until this point. And also gallery item number, and then automatic numbering here again, right? Then in there, we want an image called gallery image. And now we can also specify the attributes here. And that's using the square brackets, just like this. So we can say that the source should be image gal, and then the number, and then JPEG. And that works because the images that we use for this are named like this, like gallery 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 14. Okay, and so that's why we can use this numbering here as well. So that's the source attribute, and then I can also specify the alt attribute. And so gallery image, and then the number. Okay, and so now that Emmet understands this really, let me put this here in parentheses, and then write 14 times. Hit tab, and bam, here we go. So we have now all of these 14 figures with the 14 images, all named from 1 to 14, such as the image names and the alt text. All right, so I can now get rid of this first part here, which is exactly the same as this one. So let's check it out here. And indeed, here we have our 14 different images. Now all we have to do is to place them on the grid just like this. And so let's actually use this one here as a reference. So again, in order to come up with this layout here, I had to go through kind of a lot of experimentation, but that would be way too much to do in a video like this. And so I'm just going to place them like they are here. And if you want to go through all that experimentation by yourself, then please feel free to do that. So you can, of course, try to position them in a completely different way and try to come up with your own gallery, right? But I'm just going to show you the way that I did this. So this one here is the second one, and we see that it starts on column number 1 and then spans across 3 tracks. And the same for lines. So from line 1, spanning across 3 tracks. So let's copy this. So grid row and span 3, and grid column starts on number 3, so line number 3, and spans across 3. And of course here number 2. And that's it. So next up, from 1 and spanning 2 rows and just 1 column. So number 3 from row 1 spanning 2 and then just 1 column. So just from column 1 to column number 3. Just to confirm, oh, something didn't go quite well. And yeah, of course, it starts at column 6 and goes to 7. So that's of course a mistake. But now that's fixed. So next one occupies then all the way until the end of the grid and across to 2 rows. So number 4, grid row and spans 2, and the columns, it starts at number 8 and until the end of the grid. Okay, and actually it starts at number 7. Okay, so grid line number 7, and of course, yeah, that was kind of obvious because this one here ended at line number 7, and so this one, of course, had to start at line number 7, right? So next one then here starts at line number 3 and goes all the way to line number 6. So it spans across 3 rows and spans across 2 columns, right? And so now you can actually see how useful it is to use these Firefox DevTools for Grid, because without it we would have like a hard time, of course, visualizing this grid and then also keeping track of the line numbers, right? So it's really great by Mozilla that they did it like this. Okay, starts at grid row number 3 and spans across 3, and the columns, I think it's good like this. Yeah, so that looks good. Next one, we have this one here with the pool, and it starts at number 4, spanning 2 rows, and starts at column number 3, spanning 2 as well. Four and 3. Okay, now maybe this may seem like a bit of a boring task to having to align all these items like this, and I kind of agree with that, but there's really no way around it. And of course, if you were to do this without the grid, then it would be 1,000 times worse. Okay, so I'm really thankful for having this method, and I'm not complaining at all. So then next one is this here, and it starts at row 4 in column 5. So 4 and 5. Four and 5, and actually 4 and 5 here, and it's only one cell, and so that should work. Yeah. Next up, there's this one here, starting from row 3 and column 6. So 3 and 6. And number 8. Yep. The next one is this here, starting from row number 3 and column number 8. And it goes all the way across 3 tracks. So 3 row tracks. So row 3 and span across 3. And grid column 8 to -1. So the last one. So perfect again. And only 5 more to go. So the next one is this one here. So row number 6 spanning 2 row tracks. And of course column from number 1 to 2. Number 10 now. There you go. And now the next one, from row 6 to row 8 and column 2 to 4. So 6 and 2 spanning 2, I believe. And yeah, kind of. It's number 11 here, of course. Yeah, so that's better. And now we can already see how the next ones will be. So the next one is going to fill up this remaining space, and then this one will fill up this here, and then the last one will probably fill up this space here. So let's confirm that. And yeah, so this space here, then this one, and then this one. So the next one starts at row 6 and column 4. So let's copy that. And column 4. And yeah, it actually doesn't span the column. So just column number 5. All right, then the next one, we don't have to actually see the solution. We already know that it's going to be here. So from row 5 and column 5, spanning across 3 tracks in each direction. So 5, 5, and spanning 3 tracks. Oh, and something's wrong there. Ah, right. And now just one to go. So this one is from row 6 and column number 8. Row 6, span 2, so that's correct. And column 8, 2 minus 1. Don't forget to change this. And that is it. All right. Awesome. So our images are nicely aligned here. Let's take a look at it without this grid overlay. And yeah, so that looks fantastic. And it's all thanks of the grid, of course, and of the object fit property. So let's actually take that one out. So just to see how it would look like without it. And also without the height property here. So that is how it would look like, right? So if we would just place the images on the grid and they would try to keep their intrinsic aspect ratios, then that's the result we would have ended up with. Okay, so that's a bit weird. If we then set the height to 100%, then we would keep our gaps here very nicely, but then the aspect ratio would be gone. And we would have ended up with weird results like this one, where the image is very stretched, or here you can also see it very stretched, and also here. And so that's not what we want at all. And so object fit, see the difference now? So object fit is really what makes this possible, along with, of course, CSS Grid. So I hope you liked that, and see you in the next one.